All righty then. So you're lying on your bed. And your legs are long and your arms are by your sides. And you can notice the length of your right leg and the length of your left leg. And you can notice how close together the feet are and how close together the knees are. And if there's space behind the knees, notice the weight of your pelvis and the small of the back of the waist, contact there. The contact of your ribs and your shoulder blades on the right and on the left. And you're breathing in and you're breathing out, and you can just observe your breathing sort of in the background as you scan through your body, your arms by your sides, your hands resting. And there's the weight of your head up at the top. And there's a length of your spine from the top of your head down to your tail. There's two long arms and there's two long legs. And then could you bend up those two long legs and stand the feet a comfortable distance apart, as wide as the knees, and then roll your pelvis under, towards and away from your head. And you can breathe in or breathe out as you roll the pelvis towards and away from your head. And the feet and the legs can push and cause the pelvis to roll under, and the belt line. I'm sorry?
I got a cramp.
So go very, very slowly and do very, very small movements to start out. You don't have to do big abdominal crunches. Just very, very slowly. You can, how large the movement is doesn't matter. Want to make it comfortable. But maybe, yes, that's very nice. The head and the pelvis, they do the same thing. The head does a sort of a smaller version of what the back of the pelvis is doing. It rolls towards the head of the bed and it rolls towards the pelvis. And it's the feet that push and push the pelvis, and the long line of the spine gets longer. And then it's pulled down towards the feet. That's very nice. Take a rest, and you can rest with your legs long, or if it's more comfortable, you can keep your feet standing. And you can notice when you're resting, if maybe something feels a little different. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe the breathing is a bit better.
Yeah, the breathing is more relaxed.
Aha, yes, this will help your cough. This will definitely help your cough. We'll get those intercostals, which are the muscles in between the ribs, we'll get them softened up because I'm sure they're in spasms from so much coughing. So when you're ready, bend up your knees again and stand your feet a comfortable distance apart. And then in not a large movement, can you tilt both your knees to the left? Just a little bit, and then come back. And then do that again. Tilt your knees a little bit to the left and come back. So the knees they can kind of sink over to the left. And again, you can do this with your breathing. Somehow in or out as the knees go over there to the left towards the owl and come back. And make the movement real smooth. Make it real smooth. Again, how large the movements are, we're not interested in that. Large movements happen sort of by themselves. We don't try to make them happen. Just do what's comfortable. And notice if your right knee feels like it goes away from you as you tilt your knees to the left, as though someone were gently pulling on your right knee, making the bone a little longer in the thigh. And notice if you push more with your right foot or your left as you tilt the knees to the left. And then which foot pushes more as you bring the feet back, the knees back to the ceiling. And you can notice that the pelvis gets heavier on the left and the right side of the pelvis gets lighter. And then you bring everything back to the starting place. That's very nice. Let's take a rest. However you'd like to rest. You can check in and see if it's a little easier, maybe, to turn your head one way or the other. But they were both easy to begin with, it sounds like. So if it's okay to keep going a few more times to the left with your knees,
Okay.
go ahead and tilt them again. And you can pay attention to the weight on the feet and the right knee going a bit away from you and then coming back. You can pay attention to the pelvis getting lighter on the right and heavier on the left. And you can also notice that maybe you can notice that something is happening in your ribs. Something happens in your ribs. And the next time your knees go to the left, could you let your head roll to the right?
Okay.
And feel if that felt like a different movement, if you turn your head to the right as the knees go to the left, do you notice more things? Do you notice more about yourself? For example, As you tilt your knees to the left and you roll your head to the right, what happens in your chest?
It
What
gets heavier.
happens?
It gets heavier on the left
You
and
feel,
lighter on the right.
you feel your right shoulder blade getting light?
Uh-huh.
Good, good girl. So you can, so that means something's happening in the rib cage. And we'll help this along in a moment. Now, the next time you tilt your knees to the left, let your head roll to the left. And it's quite a different movement if the head rolls with the knees.
Okay.
So if the knees go to the left, you can roll the head to the left too. And that's a bit different, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so head turning to the left with the knees or head turning away from the knees. It's different experience for the spine
Mhm.
and the ribs and the shoulders.
Yeah.
That's very nice. Okay, take another rest. And notice if your breathing continues to get a little easier,
Mhm.
or maybe your shoulder blades a little more relaxed, a little wider.
Mhm.
The weight of your body more comfortable on the bed. And then when you're ready, bend up your knees again and stand your feet a comfortable distance apart. And now tilt your knees to the right and feel how the body responds. Feel all those places we talked about on the other side. So there's, of course, there's the feet, the pressure and contact of the soles of the feet is different. So weight shifts across the back of the pelvis and moves to the right. And you can even think of the left knee getting longer, the left thigh moving away from you as you tilt the knees. You can notice if your head has a tendency or a preference, would it like to roll to the right or
I would like to.
to the left?
To the right. I would like to roll to the
Yeah,
right.
so let it do what it would like to do. Feel that whole transference of the weight to the right side of the body now. Nice pressure against the right shoulder blade. Nice softening of the chest. Nice softening of the waist. That's lovely. Pause the next time your knees are standing.
Just amazing.
So now let your knees tilt to the right again, but let your head roll to the left.
Okay.
Let your head roll to the left and feel the coordinated action there. Again, how far is not important. What's important is that you can sense and feel the relationship of the head and the pelvis and the knees leaning, the thighs leaning. The pressure changing across the back. Feel how it's different in the chest and in the shoulders and the ribs and the waist. And then roll the head once with the knees and once away from the knees. So you can really feel the contrast. And maybe it's even more comfortable rolling. You can roll to the right and roll to the left and turn the face with the knees. Very similar to how a baby would move. And then just once, continue tilting your knees right and left, but turn your face opposite.
Should I go to the left also?
So if you take your knees to the right or the left, take your head to the right. Yeah.
Okay.
And then as you come back, everything's in the middle, and then everything goes away from the middle.
Mhm.
And then take a rest, and you can lengthen down your legs or you can leave your feet standing, whatever you like.
Okay.
And notice if you're a little more comfortable on the bed or if your breathing is easier.
Okay.
And now if it's comfortable for your shoulder, can you interlace your fingers and bring your hands behind your head? Yeah, and then stand up your feet again. Stand up your feet again. So your elbows are out to the sides and your hands are behind your head. And can you help your head move to the right by carrying it with your hands over along the bed to the right? So what does that mean? It means that your hands are going to slide and carry your head over to the right.
Mhm.
So it means the backs of the hands, your head will actually be moving away from where it's resting over to the right.
Yeah.
So that means that your right elbow will be coming closer to the right side of your waist. Your hands will be sliding along the covers. It's like you'll be sliding, you'll be shifting your head. Your right elbow will be moving closer to the right side of your pelvis. And your left elbow will be going closer to your headboard. So let's take a rest. Let's take a rest. So let's try this a little bit differently. Stand your feet again and put your hands down by your sides with the palms facing the ceiling.
Okay.
And think of reaching for your right heel with your right hand. So how would you do that? Yeah, nice. And then come back. Now I'm going to add a constraint. Don't move your right foot. So you feel, okay, so You feel that you moved your head over to the right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So do that again, but not as intently. Just, yeah. So we're not trying to reach the heel.
Okay.
We're just, we're folding the rib cage on the right. And the ribs, which means the ribs are opening on the left.
Uh-huh.
And your right shoulder blade slides down.
Yes.
Mhm. And you could even bring your right ear, think of bringing your right ear a little closer to your right shoulder as you reach with your fingertips towards your heel. Think of the ear coming closer to the shoulder, which means your head will be side bending too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Uh-huh.
Is that okay for that shoulder?
Mhm.
Seems to be agreeable for that shoulder. Yes?
All right.
Yeah. So now let's help the head with your left hand. Bring your left hand behind your head. And now help the head move to the right as you reach with your right hand towards your right foot. You can help move the head with your, now notice how your left elbow is coming closer to the headboard. Yes. And your entire shoulder girdle is moving and making a diagonal line.
Uh-huh.
Does that make sense? Your right shoulder goes down and your left shoulder goes up towards the top of the bed. And the head moves over, and you help the head move over with the left arm. And you help the head move over with the right arm by reaching. There you go. And we want to make sure that we do this very, very comfortably, very, very comfortably. So you could do 50% of what you're doing.
Okay.
And still get much, much benefit. Yes, that's it. Get your ribs moving after all the spasms of coughing. That's nice. So leave it, just leave it and take a rest. And then let's try the same thing on the other side. So let's see, that means we will be reaching with the left hand towards the left heel. And you can think about, because your body, it already knows all the pieces. It already knows all the pieces. So the right shoulder goes down. The shoulder blade goes down. I'm sorry, did I say right or left? The left shoulder blade goes down. The left arm is reaching. Your ribs are folding a bit. The upper ribs under the armpit. And then you could bring your right hand behind your head, and you could help your head move over to the left. think of your left ear coming, it's like your left ear is coming closer to your left shoulder, but your left shoulder is moving away from the left ear. It's like your left ear is chasing your left shoulder. And the back of the hand, it moves over to the left, carrying the head. And the head is moving on top of the spine, which is bending to the left. And you can breathe out. You can breathe out the next time you reach with your left arm so that your ribs have more room to come closer together on the left. Okay, let's take a rest. Don't want you to be sore tomorrow. Notice how you're touching the bed. Notice how you're touching the bed. And now stand up your knees again and let your knees tilt once to the left slowly and come back. And then once to the right, slowly and come back. Make sure your feet are separated, not too close. Yeah. And now interlace your fingers and again bring your hands behind your head. And now see if it's easier to carry your head over to the right or over to the left. Keep the face up towards the ceiling and your arms will move. Your right elbow will come closer to the right side of your waist. Your left elbow will come away. So let's try it with tilting your knees to the left and sliding the backs of your hands over to the right, carrying your head to the right.
Okay.
There we go. You're going to slide. Yeah, you're going to slide. The elbows will move, the whole back, the shoulders will slide. The backs of the hands will slide. What's that?
Should I go the other way too?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
There we go. So now the whole body is moving.
Mhm.
Now, where would you prefer to look? Towards your right elbow or towards your left elbow? There's no right answer, but there's one that might make more sense for you.
I don't know.
So just as you tilt your knees again and slide your hands over there, try looking one way with the head or the other way with the head, the face, and the eyes,
Mhm.
in a way that feels very organic and comfortable and free.
Mhm.
That's nice. Now there's more movement in your rib cage. Let's take a rest.
Okay.
And sense your contact with your bed. Your legs and your pelvis, your back, your shoulders, and the weight of your head. And how your breathing is. And then one last time, stand up your feet a comfortable distance apart and tilt your knees, as we did in the beginning, to the left, and feel if that feels more comfortable, or if you feel more, or if you're aware of more places in yourself as you do that, and come back. And then go to the right, and go to the left, and go to the right, and feel if you feel not just your knees, not just your pelvis, but maybe your waist and your ribs, and maybe you feel a tug on your head. And your head can look to the right with the knees, which you enjoyed, softening the chest and breathing. Or your head could turn away from the knees. It's a little more advanced for the spine. Nice, very nice. And then the very first thing we did was we rolled the pelvis towards and away from the head. So go back to that very first movement and feel and push with the feet, and the pelvis rolls under, and the head, it does the same thing as the pelvis, but to a lesser degree. So maybe you're a little more aware of that connection now between the pelvis and the head, and the pushing legs, and your breathing. Okay, good. So I'm going to just guide you now towards coming to standing. Roll to your side and swing your legs over the end of the bed or the edge of the bed, and bring yourself up to sit slowly. And just get your bearings. Get your bearings there. How your breathing is, and how you feel in sitting. You can move your shoulders around. And then if you come to standing, just bring yourself up on your feet and just notice how it is to stand.
Okay.
How it is to stand. And breathe and look around. You can be aware of, you can be aware as you look around to the right and to the left that there, maybe you're aware now of a relationship with your pelvis, your head and your pelvis, that maybe you weren't aware of before.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, can you feel that this pelvis is supporting the movement of the head?
Yes.
Yes. Good.
Yes.